Much for that. For more on this, I've been speaking to Democratic Congresswoman Karen Bass. She sits on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congresswoman, the president has been keen for a long time to get American troops out of Syria. It looks like they are now starting to come home. There'll be a complete withdrawal. Do you think this is the right time for America to be pulling out of Syria?
Well, I don't think it's the right time for us to be pulling out completely. However, you know, it seemed as though the president's remarks were rather flippant. I mean, he did say that ISIS has been completely defeated. I'm not sure that the Pentagon feels that way. So, you know, the president is known to make very spontaneous statements and tweets, and I have a feeling that this is one of them. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of days if you don't hear him backtrack from that. That would be pretty consistent, don't you think?
Because of pushback perhaps from the Pentagon, from Republican members up on Capitol Hill who pretty much uniformly say that this is not a good time for America to be pulling out.
Well, exactly. And one thing about the president that we've all experienced over these last 2 years is that he will make unilateral statements with no facts, no evidence, and it's not really clear that he's been briefed on the matter. And so if we were going to make a decision like completely pulling out of Syria, I think that that would take a lot of deliberation, a lot of evaluation. And I know from my position on the Foreign Affairs Committee, we certainly have not had any briefings toward that end, and so it just makes me wonder whether or not this is a decision that he will change and act as though in a few days as though he never said it.
There are only 2,000 remaining American personnel in Syria. Do they have much of an impact? Are they making much of a difference in the country when there are so few of them?
Well, see, I think that's exactly right. That's exactly what needs to be evaluated. I certainly know that I need to know that information. I know that they play a role. I believe it's important. But I think if we are at the point where we're going to make a decision to completely pull out, then we need to evaluate top to bottom the U.S. involvement in Syria.
Russia has welcomed the news. Does Russia stand to gain from an American withdrawal?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's one indication. You know, is this the wise thing to do? And I'm not saying absolutely it's not, but what I am saying is that I have a feeling that this was just a one-off statement he made at the top of his head. I don't know what led to it, but I know that the Pentagon is not on the same page. And so just, you know, I would expect that in a day or two, the position will completely change.
That was a fascinating conversation, because what's interesting about this policy shift by the president is that it seems to undercut the whole